Culture Pavilion in Davos. Really pleased now to be joined by Brian Gallagher, President and CEO of United Way. Thanks very much for stopping by.
It's great to be here, Edie.
Tell me about the work that you're doing on human trafficking.
So there are more than 20 million people today in either the forced labor industry or in forced labor anywhere around the world. We haven't traditionally been in that space, working in that area. We're more in traditional social services, education, income, and health. But we got introduced to the issue by President Obama a couple of years ago. And so we've launched a center at United Way of America or United Way Worldwide, to combat human trafficking and modern day slavery.
And tell me about some of the work that you're doing in the U.S., because that's interesting.
Yeah, so one of the things, the way I describe it is that the trafficking issue in the U.S., and I would say around the world, but in the U.S., is similar to the AIDS issue 30 years ago. That there are advocates working on it, there are people that know about it, but general public doesn't know about it. And so part of what we're trying to do is normalize the issue, get it discussed. And so specifically, we're working with all the major presidential candidates right now. We'll launch a coalition of NGOs and businesses, making sure that they put it in their platform, their presidential platform, to talk about trafficking. We're working with Senator Bob Corker, who heads Senate Foreign Relations Committee in the U.S. Senate. He sponsored legislation to fund essentially the equivalent of the Global AIDS Fund for trafficking. And then we're working with our major corporate partners to raise money to match that public money.
How can you get people to be aware? Because what it essentially is looking at a human being as an export without any value whatsoever, which ends up having, of course, quite a lot of value in the country that they end up in.
Well, there's so much in the world today in terms of change and disruption is asymmetric. So the global economy creates all this opportunity for innovation, but it creates this this kind of dark net and greater opportunity to engage in criminal activity. Trafficking, kind of plain and simple, is organized crime, and so the human being is the drug, and people are being moved as if they're a commodity. And it's easier to get done because all the change is so disruptive, so asymmetric, and all of our, whether it's security and police or laws or whatever, are national. And so part of what has to happen is those sectors have to get together in country and across country to deal with addressing the issue. And that's why getting the public to understand the issue is so important, so they put pressure on politicians and others to respond. I'll say this, young people, certainly in the U.S., millennials, are very aware of this issue, want something done about it. Young people across the world are more cognizant than, say, people of my generation. So I'm actually hopeful that if we can get young people involved in raising awareness, putting pressure on elected officials, NGOs like us, and corporations, that we can address the issue.
Where is slavery of the biggest concern in the world?
So I'd first say, for all of my friends and colleagues in the U.S., even though the number is difficult to put our finger on precisely, it's hundreds of thousands of people in the United States, in every state in America. We know that there are more people held in slavery and forced labor in India than any other country in the world. The estimate is about 25% of the 20 million or more people in slavery, 25% are in the sex business, forced sex business. The other are in forced labor, brick kilns and so forth, fishing industry and the like, and it's all over the world.
Thank you very much for stopping by, Brian, to speak to me here at the Hub Culture Pavilion in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.